we've written our submission for the James Bond theme, right? That's always how it goes. You submit one. The film before ours, like Radiohead submits a song. Sam Smith submits a song. They don't choose Radiohead. So I was very aware that that's...
Are you offered the opportunity to do that, or do you reach out and say, hey, we want to...
We reached out, and again, I think the opportunity that anyone is offered is to submit. Nobody's offered the opportunity to do it, which I totally get. What if we'd written the worst song ever? Like, they'd be like, geesh, we like Billy, but this sucks, right? I've always loved the Bond movies, always loved the Bond songs, so I sought it out. We were having this incredible year. Billy's first album was crushing, and I said, if they're making a new James Bond movie, I want to meet with anybody. I want to crack at it. So we wrote our submission and heard kind of nothing for 2 months. Got like right an immediate next morning, like, thank you so much. And I kept kind of following up with our team, but the more days go by, the more you're like, okay, I'm sure it's
waiting for the denial.
I'm sure
email.
It's Ed Sheeran or somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, then 6 weeks later, there's a kind of a shakeup. Dan Romer was signed on to score the movie at the time that we submitted, and then he exited the project and Hans took over.
Yep.
And again, you see all those things as a person who submitted, and you're like, oh, this is maybe we're gonna have to write a totally new song, whatever. And I get this kind of word of like Hans wants to be in touch, and I'm like, that's a good sign. And Hans is like the president. You get like a text from a number that says, hey, this is Hans, give me a call. And you call the number that texted you, and that number doesn't pick up, and then an unknown number calls you, which is like...
Didn't you have that experience?
Yeah.
Only him and Barack Obama operate that way. I was like, okay. And he was really warm and kind of like, parallel to this conversation, and this is a real film composer's thing. He's like, I quite like the song that you guys have made, but the only thing you had access to when you made the song were the first 20 pages of the script, and I think it's important that you see the whole movie. So come to London. We're like, and this is all promising. We're like, oh, if they're flying us to London, maybe we got
a shot. Yeah.